Hello everyone, welcome. Today we will discuss Age of Revival. Timeline of this Age of Revival is from 1400 to 1550 AD. And this period comes after Age of Chaucer and comes just before Elizabethan Age. So this period is between Geoffrey Chaucer and Edmund Spenser. And this age comes under the category of Middle English period. Middle English period can be divided into three parts: period before Chaucer, then uh, after Chaucer, age of Chaucer, and then age of revival. So this is the timeline of age of revival from 1400 to 1550. Now, in England, age of revival begins with wars, unrest, and chaos. It is full of unrest in England in this age, but when conclusions comes, it concludes with a settled dynasty, that is, with the age of Elizabeth and Reformed religion. There is the broad intellectual flood called Renaissance in this age. Beginning of Renaissance is seen in this age, and renewed desire for knowledge everywhere we can see. This age has witnessed a rebellion like Cat's Rebellion, which was between 1400 to 1450. Now, age of revival. What we mean by age of revival? Age of revival means that revival of old literature, whatever was that was old. So this was a time when people started looking back to their ancient past, where there was a glorious age, where there was ancient Greek and Roman literature, Roman text, and they took a lot of interest in this Roman and Greek literature. And at that time, Roman and Greek literature was circulated all over Europe due to crusades. And because of crusades, all this ancient Greek and Roman literature and learning was spread across Europe, across the people, and people started taking interest in these literature, appreciating these literature. They were writing great works, this these people. And because of all this writer, uh, these people started imitating those ancient writers and text of those ancient writers. And this was the age of Renaissance, period of Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. So this was the attitude of this age. And Renaissance means something has died and that starts again, that it again start and comes up in rebirth form. So during this age of revival, the Greek and the Roman architecture, music, literature, everything was revived, which was earlier died. And this happened due to fall of Roman civilization. Roman civilization collapsed somewhere around 400 AD, and after 400 AD, it was in somewhere around 1400 AD that people started going back and looking back to their past and their past work, and this is why Renaissance came. So in this age of revival, Renaissance came to England, and which went to full flowering in the age of Elizabeth. Now we will discuss some historic events of this age. In this age of revival, there was War of Roses going on, and this lasted from 1455 to 1485. War of Roses. So this was series of English and civil war for control of the throne of England, fought between House of York and the House of Lancaster. So this was a historical event, historical war. And England was already waging war with France, but this war was internal war. It was an internal conflict. And here two political groups of England, houses of parliament, were fighting with each other. One group was known as House of York, and another group was called House of Lancaster. So there was continuous fight between them. and these have certain symbols like House of York had symbol of white rose, and the House of Lancaster had symbol of red rose. Therefore, these are called um, War of Roses by these symbols. And so they were fighting for the accession of throne. Now, next important event of this age was arrival of printing press. um, Gutenberg was a great person, and he established printing press in Europe. But in England, William Caxton brought printing press to England in 1476. So this is a notable event of this age. Printing press brought a revolution in history of England, and he printed almost every known English work, including Chaucer and Malory. So all works were printed by this William Caxton. So here what happened, before coming to the printing press, there was a there was a very much problem in printing and circulating the works of great authors. So arrival of printing press in Europe was another important historical event that happened during this age of revival. And this printing press was set up all across the Europe, and this was set in Europe by Gutenberg. He was a great man, but here William Caxton brought printing press to London. And earlier, before that printing press, what they did, they used wood block printing. You can see the picture here. There is a piece of wood where there is a carving is there. So what happened, so wood block printing is basically, there was a wooden piece. In wooden piece, which is the entire paper was carved, there was a carving of the whatever they have to write, and when you put that as a stamp on the another sheet of the paper, the pages will become a copy of that carved wooden piece. But it was a very cumbersome task and not very easy task. So this block printing was famous at before that establishment of printing press. Now we will discuss about another events, like we'll discuss dynasty here. Here Tudor, Henry Tudor, who was Henry VII, defeated and killed Richard III. So War of Roses, which was going on between these two groups of people, and this war was ended by the killing of Richard III. And who killed Richard III? Henry Tudor killed Richard III, and thereby he ended the War of Roses. Tudor dynasty started with the Henry VII. So it started, Henry VII started Tudor dynasty, and Tudor dynasty has the blood of both the houses of York and houses of Lancaster. So people were happy because they had carried the both houses. Now with Henry VII, peace established in England, and it returned in England once again. And Henry VII was a learned man. He encouraged education and sent scholars to Italy and Greece. And so there was a beginning of Renaissance in England in this age, and we can see in this way. So the Renaissance started in this age only with the efforts of Henry VII and other people. Now, during this period, a ruler known as Henry VIII also ruled. So Henry VIII succeeded his father Henry VII. Henry VIII was son of Henry VII, and he took the crown of England after the death of Henry VII. And Henry VIII was a phenomenal king. He was a phenomenal king in ionical sense, and he was ruler who married 6 times to get a son. And he married first time Catherine of Aragon, and from Catherine of Aragon he had Mary the first. Then he married, his second wife was Anne Boleyn, who was Protestant, and from Anne Boleyn he had the daughter Elizabeth. And he was such a person that he killed his wife, he killed many his wives, and he killed Anne Boleyn for the suspect of for the many reasons. He charged her of the reason, treason and witchcraft and adultery. And Henry VIII sentenced Anne Boleyn to death due to witchcraft and dishonored Elizabeth. So he was such a king. And for Henry VIII, girl was of no use. So he did so. And he keep on killing his wives and kept on marrying again and again. And it was Henry VIII who started Anglican Church in England. So in this regard, he is a phenomenal king also, because he separated himself from the Roman Catholic Church of Rome, and he established Anglicanism in England. Now, after death of Anne Boleyn, his next wife was Jane Seymour, and Jane Seymour was Protestant. And from Jane Seymour, he had a son. Henry VIII had a son, and who was crowned after the death of Henry VIII at the age of 9. So such was the monarchy that he was younger than his sisters like Mary first and Elizabeth first, but he was crowned to throne of England at the age of 9. But Edward VI eliminated many Catholic practices, and he was also a great Protestant. Means at the little age of 9 and 10, he was a great Protestant. But he died at the age of 15 after ruling only 6 years. So he died at the age of 15. And after the death of that Edward VI, Mary the First, daughter of Henry VIII, and his first wife Catherine of Aragon became the next ruler in 1553. Then she reinstated Catholicism. Mary the First was a staunch Catholic, and she reinstated Catholicism in England, and she executed Protestants, and she burned Protestant alive. Therefore, she was nicknamed Bloody Mary. But she ruled for only few years, like 5 years, and then she died. Finally, in 1558, Queen Elizabeth I, became the ruler of England, and then she was the second daughter of Henry VIII, became the Queen of England, and thus began the golden period of England that was called Elizabethan age, because the monarch of the England was Elizabeth. Despite being a Protestant, Elizabeth was Protestant by faith. She allowed both Catholics and Protestants to live in peace. She uh, she believed in the theory of golden mean. She presided in the theory of compromise, and she established peace in England. Now this age was also age of voyages, and this is happening all across the Europe. There was people were sending uh, queen were sending people to all around the Europe to in the search of new land, and and during such voyage, the discovery of America was done by Columbus in 1492 AD. So discovery of America was by Columbus in 1492 in this age only, and at the same time, in 1497 AD, India was found by Vasco da Gama. Although these people did not belong to England, but England was partner in the share of this loot from these new land. He was a great colonizer. That not he, Britain was a great colonizer in this sense. So people of England started to realize, people of Europe started to realize that world is not that short, and world is not just Europe. There are and world is not so small, and that how they started creating altogether different notion of the world. That there is a India, there is a America. They can go there and they can establish colony there, and they can bring the property and the uh, many valuable things from those countries. So this colonization started. In this age, colonization was not started. In this age, there was voyages were going on. So in this way, there was a means basic stone was being laid for the colonization. Now, some important event of this age was Reformation. The age of revival is the age of Reformation also, and this age of Reformation, which is a religious movement, was going on this age, and the Protestant Reformation movement was started by Martin Luther, and he was a German monk. You can see in the picture he was a Martin Luther, and he was a German monk. And just I have forgotten to this is Henry VIII and six wives of Henry VIII. So he is Martin Luther, and he is a Greek German monk, and his followers were called Protestant. The Protestant Reformation was a religious reform movement that swept through Europe in 1500s. It resulted in the creation of branch of Christianity called Protestantism, a name used collectively to refer to the many religious groups that separated from the Roman Catholic Church due to differences in doctrine. And this Reformation movement was against the rigid practice of Catholic Church and the corruption amid the clergy. Now, another Reformation movement started in Switzerland at this time, and it was started by John Calvin, and he founded Calvinism. So, from Calvin, Calvinism was founded, and it was also a branch of Protestantism. Development of English Bible. First printed Bible was established. First printed Bible came out in this age, and Gutenberg. It was called Gutenberg Bible also because it was printed in the Gutenberg printing press. So it was printed in 1450 by the Johannes Gutenberg. So it was called Gutenberg Bible, and it came in 1450. So you must remember the dates for competitive exams. Now, William Tyndale translated the Hebrew and the Greek Bible text into English in 1525. Now, Tyndale Bible comprised the New Testament and the half of Old Testament. Now we will discuss Miles Coverdale. Miles Coverdale completed the task left unfinished by William Tyndale in 1535. So, although William Tyndale has started some work comprising the writing of Bible, but he couldn't complete. So, Miles Coverdale completed this unfinished work of William Tyndale, and the first complete printed Bible in English was produced by Miles Coverdale. Now, we will discuss poetry of this age. Decadence is the style of English poetry. So poetry was not in very good state in this age, and major poets of this age were John Skelton, John Lydgate, Stephen Hawkins, House. Compared to Chaucer, their styles was childish and inept. So these writers writers of this age were imitating Chaucer, and these writers was called Scottish Chaucerians because very popular during this age, and they were greatly influenced and inspired by Geoffrey Chaucer. King James I, William Dunbar, Robert Henryson, and Gavin Douglas are the well-known Scottish Chaucerian. So these people belong to Scotland, and they were imitating Chaucer, so they were called Scottish Chaucerian. And there were some English Chaucerians also. Besides Hockley and Lydgate, the best-known English Chaucerians were a number of other followers and imitators of Chaucer, and they include Benedict Burge, George Ashby, John Walton, and all those poets, and they imitated Chaucer. Now we will discuss prose of this age. English prose developed during this age due to the Reformation movement. And notable writers of this age, prose writers of this age were Erasmus, Thomas More. Thomas More wrote Utopia, author of Utopia. Thomas More is a Utopian writer of Utopia. So third, Sir Thomas Malory was a English writer, and he was author of Morte Arthur. This is a great work. And Thomas Malory was one who wrote Lee Morte Arthur, and where he discussed the entire life of King Arthur and his quest for Arthurian knight. He was going in the quest for Arthurian knight. So this story of Arthur legend is written by Sir Thomas Malory. This is a very important work. Now we will discuss some women writers of this age, and the important writers are, one is Christine de Pizan. Christine de Pizan, and Christine de Pizan was the first female writer who took writing as a career. As you can imagine, in the age of 15th century, where there is no scope for women education, a woman started writing, and and made this profession her livelihood. Then next women writer is Margaret Kemp, and she wrote the book of Margaret Kemp. Now, Margaret Kemp was the writer who had 14 children. You can imagine. She had 14 children, and despite her busy life, she started writing about her life. She was writing about her own life, and she wrote in a prose form, and she started writing down what she is going through, and how difficult it is to being a woman in that century, 15th century, and what it feel like to take care of so many household responsibilities at the same time being a writer. And such was Margaret Kemp. Now next writer I am going to discuss is Julian of Norwich. Julian of Norwich, and she wrote Revelations of Divine Love, and the Revelation of Divine Love, and it is a medieval book on Christian mystical devotion. Sorry. So now the next writer is Julian of Norwich, and she has written Revelations of Divine Love, and it is a medieval book of Christian mystical devotion. And Julian of Norwich dedicated her entire life to God and devotion of God, and she wrote this work. And so this is a devotional work by her. So these were the great women writers of this age. And so in this age, Erasmus, Thomas More, William Tyndale, Thomas Malory were great writers. Now, English drama in the age of revival. In English drama was also evolving during this age, and before that interlude were being written, and now in this age secular drama were being written in this age, and people were writing more and more about the common people, and people were taking great interest in these dramas. And so important plays of this age were play of Henry Medwall, then Fulgence and Lucrece. These are plays by Henry Medwall. These are very important in the context of NET exam. So his plays are Fulgence and Lucrece, Nature of the Finding of the Truth, and this is an interlude by Medwall. Now, John Rastell. John Rastell was the first printer of. He was of music, playwright, member of parliament, and he was brother-in-law of Thomas More. So great person, John Rastell, and he has written 4 elements. It was an interlude, and it was also a morality play. Then his other works of John Rastell are The Pastime of People. It is a chronicle of the realm of England. Then Callisto and Melibea, Gentleness and Nobility. Then the plays of John Bailey, and he has written King Johann, and it is a first historical verse play as well as morality play. Other works of John Bell are then there are plays of Niccolo Machiavelli. Niccolo Machiavelli was an Italian playwright and historian of Florence, and he was a father of modern political science. And he has written great political treatise, The Prince. And this prince has influenced many great Elizabethan writers, including Sir Francis Bacon and Christopher Marlowe. Now, plays of John Haywood. Haywood was a poet and a playwright. He has written Johann, the Husband, The Place of Weather, a play of love, an interlude. Then there was the Poor Piece or PP. And this is a very famous play. Here the characters are Farmer, Partner, Apothecary and Peddler. Now other works of John Haywood was some plays by Haywood. Then such was the drama, and then there was a place of Henry Madrigal, and it is a Fulgence and Lucrece. This is a very important play, and Fulgence and Lucrece. Now I will finish this age at this moment, and if this you find this video helpful, please share this with your friends. Thank you so much for watching this video.